The specialist Bill and Will are back, recapping episode number 7 of the Traitors US season 3. I think I had the wrong microphone. We're worried about Adam Klein's microphone here because we are joined by Adam Klein from Survivor. He is here to talk all about the latest episode of the Traitors. He's in Costa Rica, right? Is that
I'm in Costa Rica. No, not on a cruise yet. I'm about to be in like a week, 10 days. But I'm in Costa Rica while my wife is at her like training to go on the ship. And there is a very loud, like live music going on in the hostel, like right outside. And I said, I want a podcast, but I can't because like it's so freaking loud here. But apparently the magic of AI or whatever, it's not too loud.
I don't hear it.
Sounds good to me.
Will tell us if it's too loud and if it's annoying, and then kick me out. But this has been such a good season of the Traitors. Like Phil and I were talking about, I was like, I gotta chat with you guys about it. Like it's so good. It's so good.
And couldn't have picked better timing. I mean, your man Boston Rob goes home tonight. Like we did not know this was coming, and here we are lining it up perfectly.
Idea. Maybe Adam knew somehow, and that's why he picked this episode of all episodes to join us.
No, I really didn't. I had no idea. And to be clear, Phil texted me first.
Mm-hmm.
So unless Phil is secretly chatting,
that's not what Phil told me. So,
Adam,
Phil's like, Adam reached out and really wants to do the Traitors podcast with us.
You know what that means? Phil's a traitor.
Phil's a traitor.
Phil's 100%
not adding up.
He always has been. Yeah.
Well, Blake, I always joke and say on this podcast that Blake is the spoilers reader. And wouldn't it be wild to know that he actually texted me yesterday and said, you should try to reach out to a Winners at War person for tomorrow night's episode of the Traitors.
Is this Traitor spoiled? Is this like,
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm just making up this story.
You know, if you did a boot list for the Traitors.
Yes, exactly. which is why, if anybody's wondering how this came to be, and we're going to talk about the Traitors in a second, but if anybody's wondering how this came to be, we had a comment on a video from 9 years ago, and somebody commented on the video and said, it's so funny to hear you guys talking about Adam Klein as the leader of the bootless game before he went on Survivor. I sent Adam a screenshot of that. And then we got to talking about the Traitors and Australian Survivor and all of that. And then he was like, I got about a week that you have a window for. And I was like, you want to do the Traitors tomorrow night? And he was like, sure, I'll be in a nice, quiet place. And here he is now.
So that sounds pretty mutual, actually. It doesn't seem like, it seems like organically you both arrived at wanting to do
I feel like at some point I should just move my computer and show you out the window so you can see the live literal concert that is going on right here. Maybe at the end.
This is great. I love it. Adam, thank you for coming on episode number 7 here of the Traitors. Does my mic sound good? Because I had the wrong microphone set up to start. Do I sound good? Strong? Good?
Now you're better. Yeah.
Okay.
All I can hear is the music, so you're good to me.
Here's going to keep leaning in. All right. Let's talk about Boston Rob tonight, because obviously this is how the episode ends for the most part. Boston Rob finally goes home in 12th place. Could he have done anything else, or did he do everything he could have?
No. Well, he did everything. Well, okay. He did everything his way. And because his way is his way, this was all he could do, right? But before we talk about Boston Rob going out, I want to talk about that I was shocked that he did go out. I did not think this was happening. I was like, oh my God, he's got a whole horde of people again that are protecting him. All the women, all these ladies, and then he's got Dylan, and he's got a team, and everyone else is too afraid except for Tom, but nobody listens to Tom anyway. So, right. So, and then you see Brittany crying in confessional, and then it looks like she's crying at the round table. I mean, she thought she was going, right? And so she's smart, right? So if she thinks she's going, I was like 1,000% sure that she was going. And I was planning on coming on here and being like, I don't know how he's doing it. How is he getting away with this? It's unbelievable. So the fact that he made it as long as he did was unbelievable, but I was prepared to come on here and like fully go, what the hell is going on? So I was blown away that he got eliminated here.
Well, what did you think?
I wasn't as shocked as last week. Last week, I was shocked that Rob survived. I'm like, why did everyone jump on Wes kind of out of nowhere? And it seemed that Wes was just playing a pretty bad faithful game and at least like integrating himself with other faithfuls. It's not like people really thought
Shitting
Wes
on
was a traitor.
everybody.
Yeah, it's just like, we don't like you. And like Rob's putting you up and like, we don't really think it's Rob. So it's like Wes kind of came out of nowhere. And I think Brittany did such a good job defending herself at the round table, where she seemed just completely shocked that she was even being considered. And it really is hard to fake that. I know if you play a lot of these social deduction games, and Adam, I imagine you have experience with Werewolf and Resistance and all that, like you can put it on pretty easily with experience. And hey, maybe Brittany, she's a Big Brother player. She is a gamer, but the way she reacted to me felt so genuine, so authentic. And obviously we know the answer as the audience. But from that, I kind of thought the writing was on the wall for Rob, and nothing he could have done. I mean, I think he was essentially drawing dead since he outed Bob the drag queen as a traitor. Like that move was so flashy, so bold, so early. From that point on, Phil and I had said it right after that. There's no way Rob is getting to the end and winning this game.
Yeah,
I still think that Brittany is screwed though, because Rob going out is actually bad for her. Because the reason she was suspected in the first place was because people thought she was protecting Rob, right? And so only now, when it's her butt on the line, she's voting Rob out. But up until then, she was like, it's not Rob, it's not Rob, it's not Rob, it's not Rob. And so the most obvious, way more obvious than that the traitors are actually just fighting and going after each other, which I don't think people are going to suspect, way more obvious is that Brittany was protecting him the whole time, right? And now push came to shove and it was one or the other, and so they had to vote for each other, right? But this is not a good look for Brittany,
right?
And how she appears to be a traitor or not.
Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing with this is everybody was giving Boston Rob a hard time, saying, look, the only way you would know that somebody's a traitor 100% is if you're also a traitor. And that was when he went after Bob the drag queen. So if Boston Rob is trying to save himself in this moment by going after Brittany, I do think that a lot of people are going to be thinking about that. And they're going to be saying, well, what's Boston Rob trying to do? He's on his last leg. The Derek boot was too obvious. So he's going to throw a traitor out there because that's how he wants to get that big win. So when that person goes and stands there, Rob can go, I told you I'm good again. So I think Brittany's in a lot of trouble moving forward.
Yeah,
and
him going after her does not clear her. Not clear her for sure.
And I think that would have been the smarter move for Rob here. Instead of going after a faithful, and your fellow traders are a complete mess, you're not working very well together. I think you take the opportunity that Danielle gave you at the front of this episode where she is losing it at breakfast. She is crying. We even have Sierra say, like, don't worry, like Derek didn't actually get murdered. Like he's still alive. And her crying, you could like tell a story where she is feeling guilty for murdering him, and it puts a target on her back. And if you're Rob, you now have just survived a few of these banishments where you just put Wes up and made a very good case. You got the votes. Turns out Wes was a faithful. You have to deliver blood. And I think if Rob was going to survive longer than this episode or next episode or make it even further into the game, he had to have flipped onto Danielle or Carolyn. I think Danielle would have been the wiser choice, and that could have gotten some momentum, especially because Carolyn was all over Danielle like literally the night before, and then that totally fell apart, and that would have just been a wiser move instead of going after a faithful.
I disagree, actually. I think maybe in the long term you're right, but at least in the short term, the only way Rob continues to get through is fear, right? It's how a player like him can survive when all of the heat is on him. It's because people know that when people speak up about Rob, they go out, right? So even if you do think he's a traitor, you might be tempted to keep your mouth shut until he's gone and not be the one to put him up, because if it doesn't work, who's going next? It's you, right? And by keeping the other traitors fearful, it keeps them quiet. And the more people are appearing afraid, the less likely somebody is to step up and be the one to go after him. Because if they think the numbers are not there, and having two more quiet people in the group is going to make them think the numbers are not there to do this, then they will stay afraid and they will stay quiet. And his only way, I think, was to power through with fear, with intimidation, and with a loyal squad of cult-like followers, right? Which he had a few of those who kind of refused to vote for him or threw their votes or whatever, at least appeared like they were going to remain loyal to him. And so that is the Boston Rob way. And I think it was kind of the only way at this point because of all the decisions that he'd made previously.
See, and I would disagree with you here, because I think with the people that seem to be rolling with Rob, like Chriselle and Dolores and Sierra, who are like, we don't think Rob's a traitor. If we go another week and Brittany is banished here and she goes to the circle of truth and it's like, I'm a faithful, at some point that cult-like following will be like, okay, Rob's been now wrong like 3 times in a row. At some point we have to look at it. And there's enough people that are not afraid of Rob at this point. Like Tom is one of them. Even Ivar has been kind of vocal at roundtables, kind of subtly being like, Rob, your name's on the list. Let's hear your argument. And so the way to keep those people that were somewhat loyal to Rob would be to give them traitor blood and be like, okay, he's again proved that he's a gamer. He's gotten information correct. Again, Adam, I think he's drawing dead either way from when he drew so much attention to himself early. But to me, if Brittany goes here, there's absolutely no way that Rob is surviving next week.
I mean, you're right. He's in a bad situation if Brittany goes here. But I think directly going after another traitor is worse. Because if you name Danielle or Carolyn, they are going to go after you with fury. And that is what it takes to get out Rob, right? Because if everyone's a little nervous and not wanting to really do it, then it's not going to happen, or it's way less likely to happen. But if you name a traitor, fear is out the window, right? They know what they need to do. It's kill or be killed. And that's the intensity which it would be necessary, I think, to get him. So I think he would have even more for sure gone home this time if he had tried to do that, I think.
Yeah, and I do kind of agree. I agree with what both of you are saying. I think he's in a lose-lose situation. But the one thing I want to say that makes me agree with what Adam is saying here is there were 12 people left in the game. Rob's goal here was to have Carolyn, himself, Danielle. That's 3 votes. He's feeling really good about Sierra. He's feeling really good about Dolores. He's feeling really good about Dylan. That gets him to a tie and at least forces that tiebreaker vote. And then the question is, can he convince an Ivar? Can he convince a Chriselle? Potentially.
But those people weren't even voting with him at this round table.
This is what I was going to say. So I think what Adam is saying is right, is that you have the players and he's trying to keep it kind of quiet so that nobody attacks him viciously because he thinks he has enough numbers. But those people voted for Tom. One person votes for Gabby. So there were 2 votes on Brittany. Carolyn and Danielle both voted for Rob. And then you had Dylan vote for Gabby. I think I just said that. And then you had Chriselle vote for Tom. And you had Dolores vote for Tom.
Yeah, like, so Chriselle is someone we keep kind of putting in as this like kind of pawn of Rob's, and she didn't even vote with Rob to eliminate Brittany. So he didn't really have as many people as we thought.
Yeah, but we don't see everything, and it might have become very clear that Rob was going home. And so
for sure,
if it were really like close, I think maybe he has more votes. But because they knew he was going, they don't want to vote for Brittany and make a powerful enemy. That's my guess.
Yeah,
what's funny.
That makes sense. Well, hold on, Phil. Let me put this to bed, okay? Because you guys are saying going for Brittany was right over teaming up with a fellow traitor in Carolyn. And this wouldn't be at the round table. I'm saying you do this earlier in the episode. You prey off of the blood that Danielle was shedding at breakfast. And you work with Carolyn, who Carolyn has a vendetta against Danielle and it doesn't look like is ever going to trust her again. We saw what happened when he went for Brittany. He got banished. So Carolyn, if she teams up with Carolyn, goes for, maybe it gets you one more week.
Maybe, but I think you have to. It's easy to say, oh, well, because we know this didn't work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At least we know going after Brittany led to him getting banished and getting eliminated. I think there was enough. Danielle has had so many instances of heat. And if you put a little pressure on that, That one challenge with the golden urns where she was putting like Dolores's frame up out of nowhere, drawing unnecessary attention to herself, her crying again. It's like there's enough there. And then when you are successful, you're giving the faithful a head. But enough on that.
Well, I want to say
we
this,
can agree
though.
to disagree.
I want to bring up a point of disagreement with Adam. Will's defending himself when I was about to defend him, but I let Will go and talk himself into a hole. But Adam, you said it seemed very obvious that Rob was going home. You said it felt like it was, but here's the vote. You know what the vote total was?
Oh, Adam says he was shocked that.
No, I get what he means, though.
You know what I'm saying? It's where you're saying like the players started to see the writing on the wall, so they don't start voting with him because they think, okay, it's a
we don't
landslide.
see everything. What I'm saying is it may have become clear, but what was the vote?
7-2-2-1.
That's a landslide.
No, but here's the thing: if all of the people who are supposed to vote with Rob vote with Rob, that's 7-5. That's 7-5.
If you know that even one or two of those people are throwing their vote, you don't even.
Nobody knows Dylan is throwing his vote, though. That's the thing. And so what I'm saying,
at least one of them probably made it clear. I don't want anything to do with this. I don't think either of you are traitors.
But here's my point. It's 7-2-2-1. If everybody does vote for one of the two people, let's say this is a survivor style vote, it's 7-5. Carolyn and Danielle are now the deciding votes and could easily flip. So it looks like a landslide, but it's not the landslide of Bob the Drag Queen. You know, it's not actually that bad. Like if the traitors stuck together, or Nikki when she went on 14-1-1, if the traitors stick together, Boston Rob might actually been able to survive this because he did have enough people. But I think you're right, Adam. People started to hear, oh, we're not going to go this way. And they're saying, well, I don't want to be the person who's coming out of here with Boston Rob blood on my hands after he is a traitor.
But that makes me believe in Adam's theory even more, is that the traitors, like Carolyn and Danielle, both voted against Rob here because I think they knew it was happening, and I think it was probably a consensus among like the entire group at that point. And they need to do more than anyone else, more than the faithful. They need to vote to disguise who they are. So if they don't vote for Rob, it makes them look bad.
Yeah, sorry. That's like saying a presidential election is close if it's 49% to 45%, and there's 5% that went to all different. If they all just would have voted for the 45%, that doesn't make it close. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a massive if all of the straggler votes get together, that's a huge, tall task. And even if one doesn't do that, the whole thing falls apart. So if I'm somebody that is on that side and I'm realizing that even one or two people are going to throw their vote, there's nothing to be done.
That's true. So let me ask this, and whichever one of you wants to jump in first, was it a massive mistake of Boston Rob to get rid of Derek to start the episode? Is that what essentially buried him and made it so that he was done tonight?
No.
Whatever Adam says, I'm going to take the other side.
That's what I love. I am playing moderator. This is great.
This is like first take right now.
It is.
Look, like Rob has a very particular style, right? I know it very well. I thought that I could be, this is how stupid I am. I thought I could be the first person in reality TV history to tame Boston Rob. I had that chutzpah. Can you believe I thought I could do that? I mean, what was I thinking? I really thought that I could go to Rob and say, take a back seat one time. I got this, and I got you, and we're going to be great. And I still believe that if he would have listened to me, he would have been better off. And I obviously would have been better. We all would have been better off, except for Barv. But everybody else would have been better off. And he just has one speed, and that speed is control. Control, fear, intimidation, and absolute fire, right? And so because of his style, the only way it works is with complete control, right? He gets rid of everybody that is a potential threat to him. And this is why, like, it was so miraculous that I survived the first tribal council on Winners at War, right? Because I am the guy that Rob likes to get rid of. He told me as much. He's like, I don't normally work with people like you, but I pledged my complete and utter loyalty to him because I know Boston Rob. And he was like, I believe you, because I was telling him the truth, right? but you have to with him. And if you are any kind of threat to him, he gets rid of you. But by doing that, sometimes it works. It works when there's nobody left with the chutzpah or the brains, or maybe both, to be able to do anything about it. And when it doesn't work spectacularly, right? And that's why when he gets eliminated in blazes of glory. Because when people push back against that and the group like doesn't sort of fall for it, he has nothing left.
Yeah. So Stephen A., what do you got over there?
So Adam, he said that getting rid of Derek, that did not end his game. That was your take.
Yeah, it's and
or that it didn't matter at this point.
That's more the
probably
take,
more the answer.
But that once you go down this train, it must be done to completion, kind of, right? And his only hope was to eliminate anybody that was thinking or that had the cojones to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in pretty much agreement here. I don't want to just disagree for the sake of disagreeing. It makes the disagreements less interesting, because I actually do think teaming up with Carolyn to go after Danielle would have been a better move than targeting Brittany. He was dead here. I think the thing that really hurt Rob was like, Derek predicted this. He's like, Rob's going to kill me, and then blame someone else for getting framed. He tells this to Dylan. It happens exactly as planned. And this is also why I think Brittany is in a lot of trouble, because like Derek, who was obviously a faithful because he got murdered, is now predicting things that are happening and is absolutely correct. So if Derek stays, what does that do for Rob? Does that reduce his threat level? I mean, maybe they could murder somebody else, but then you have your number one opposition who wants to bring up your name, still in the house, still peddling this idea that you're a traitor. And so you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't there. I don't fault Rob too heavily for killing Derek, even though it seems like it would be an obvious misplay, especially because he kept using, man, someone's trying to frame me. Like he knew what the defense would be should that happen. It's not like he didn't think about that. So that was fine.
I also think that there's some benefit to, even if people know you're a traitor, let them be afraid, right? Like, everybody that goes after Rob gets murdered. Who wants to go after Rob next?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody, huh? I wonder why.
That worked on 2 of his 5 seasons of Survivor, right? Like, that really did. 2 of his seasons, it was as soon as you come against me, you're dead. And really, you could argue it worked on Marquesas too. He just didn't have the numbers come merge. But 3 of his 5 seasons, if you went against him, you went home. So, yeah, well, I get it.
There's something to be said about the carnage that he left. That you think of the most serious game players cast for this season. Like, he takes out Tony, takes out Jeremy, takes out Derek, takes out Wes. Like, he has taken out like the heavy gamers, and we still have a few left. We still have some Big Brother participants and Brittany and Danielle, but he went after like the alpha gamers and made sure they were gone and that he was the last one remaining.
That is also Boston Rob style.
Yeah.
Right? You look at All Stars, and it is a graveyard of the best players, right? You know what I mean? Like, so
absolutely.
Right? Like, that is his style, and that is, he is great television, but that's also the risk you take when you cast Boston.
Yes.
That you end up with a season like Redemption Island, where the only people left are the people that, don't really got it going on up there, right?
Yeah. It's true. And so I am wondering what's going to happen now as we start to actually look forward into the next couple of episodes and stuff. I'm wondering how Dylan is going to be impacted by this, because Dylan survives this. Dylan was kind of seen as Boston Rob's puppet. And we hear Tom say to him in his moment of elation, I could tell that you were just a pawn and you were blinded by it, but we're good. We're good. But I think Tom was just so stoked that he finally got something right after 8 days or 9 days of being wrong and everybody hating him, that he was just happy about that. But I do worry for Dylan as one of those lower level players, because he is very easy to look at and say, and I don't think Dylan's a lower level player, but I mean, that's the perception from everybody else when he shows up there. It's very easy to look at him and say, wow, he was playing pretty good because he was under Boston Rob's wing. And that's why he was able to play the game that he was playing. I do worry that he could be in a lot of trouble moving forward. Of course, we have to see who actually gets murdered, if there's going to be a recruitment. We don't know any of that, but I felt like Dylan was playing a really good game. But this extra stray vote on Gabby, maybe the worst timing of a stray vote for him. I really think that.
I'm always going to disagree, right?
I know.
I'll play devil's advocate here because I disagree. I think that I agree with you that Dylan has been playing a very good game. An exceptional game, really. Kind of the game that you're supposed to play if you're a faithful, which is have all the traitors be like, nah, he's got me. He's got me, right? It doesn't matter if Rob is a traitor. It really doesn't. He knew that. He understood that, right? He's like, they're saying you, I get that, but I'm not rolling with that because you got me and I got you. And he even said at the end, he was my traitor angel. Like, I don't know where they found this guy, but he's a thinker. He's a gamer and a strategic player.
And also down to earth as well.
Oh yeah. And so I don't, oh, was he not?
That's the name. That's the name of the show he's on. So it always pops up down to earth. And so our joke on here is they're just saying he's just like a really good guy underneath, like in the lower third.
He's on a show?
It was his brother. It was Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
So that's the franchise he's from.
Oh, I just thought they were like, oh, this guy's a brother of Zac Efron. Like, let's just put him on.
But that's why, have you noticed it says Down to Earth?
Oh, no, I didn't really notice. But now that you say it, that's funny. Okay,
he's
so
just a good guy. Adam, he's just a good guy. That's the way you can take it also.
How did they pick somebody like that? Like, what do they... maybe I didn't watch Down to Earth. Maybe it was really strategic on Down to Earth.
I'm sure that was full of strategy. Yeah. I have no idea what it is.
All right. What was Adam's point now that he just found out that Down to Earth is a show? And I got to look up if it was even a reality show.
My point is that I don't think he's that screwed. I think that he's a really good player and he still is in good with the Traitors. And not only is he in good with the Traitors, but he kind of looks a little more suspicious now because he was just protecting Rob. So he is not getting murdered, right? But we know that he has a good brain for this, and we know that he's down to earth, so he's probably got friends, right? So I don't really think he's getting banished either. So he's in a really good spot to like take his time and figure out another game plan and latch on to another traitor, probably.
So here's my question, and this is probably looking too far ahead, but since it just happened, it's I always think about this because the end game of the Traitors is so unique to what the rest of the game is. By doing what he's done, even if he does get back in people's good graces, is he somebody that anyone ever lets be one of the last people standing at the end? Or do you think there's enough suspicion on him now that they will, even if they think, okay, we can work with him, he almost falls into that Sandra position of no matter how far you get, we cannot trust that you're not a traitor just because there were enough red flags and enough people will still vote for him at the end if he's standing there to get out.
Yeah, not just for getting banished, but I agree with you in terms of getting murdered as well, right? Because I think he's not, I think they know he's smart at least a little bit, right? So I wouldn't want to be sitting there at the end if I'm a traitor with just Dylan deciding if I'm a traitor or not. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah, either way, I don't think he makes it quite all the way to the end, but it's hard for someone who is strategic to make it to the end as a faithful. It's really hard, right? Like, have we seen, I'm not a traitor encyclopedia, but have we seen really smart, faithful, like really dominate?
I kind of texted you this last night where it's like CT and Trishelle kind of dominated, but they had that challenge connection, which made it easier for them to do that. Like they were so loyal.
They were pretty smart about navigating the end game.
That's true.
And they did come from a gamey franchise.
That's true. Okay. So it's doable. But it's still, it's a tough path, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think Dylan the only thing that really makes me worry for him is that his name has come up in the turret a couple times, and you have Rob there going, no, I like Dylan. He's looking out for me. Like, that's my one guy.
They all said it though.
We're not.
They all didn't. Danielle also say no, not Dylan. Like,
she said no to everybody.
Yes, I think she said someone brought up Dylan's name, and I think we've seen it come up before, and then Rob just shuts it down as he does.
In this episode, they all said he's trusts all of us.
Oh, is that? Maybe I missed that. I thought because they had to bring up his name for a reason, or maybe it's just because so few people were able.
I think that's what it was. Well, I think there were just so few people up.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Traitors haven't been making smart kills from the start, though. Like, we can sit here and be like, killing Dylan would be dumb because there is some level of suspicion on him. Like, the first murder of the game was Dorinda, I want to say was her name, and she was arguing with everybody. She was causing chaos, and they're like, okay, let's murder this person. And it was like, wait a second, that was like the worst decision you could have made because you want to leave people in the game that are drawing attention to themselves. So I can't trust that Danielle and Carolyn are even going to make wise decisions when it comes to murdering people.
Mm-hmm. So we see at the end of this episode, they go in to do this murder face-to-face thing. We get Tom Sandoval's massive reaction. Is Tom Sandoval getting murdered next week, or is that too obvious? Adam's just
Yes, absolutely. Tom Sandoval is getting murdered, and this was the most glorious funeral you could possibly imagine for a great, piece of television. I don't know what you call him, but like, he was just television gold. And this is the perfect ending for him, right? He finally, people respect me. They listen to me. I'm the king. Immediately killed, right? Like, that is just this. Who else is going here? It's so Tom, right?
And we did hear, I don't know which one of them said it, but one of them says you were just too much of a faithful, or too obviously faithful. Mm-hmm. And that certainly applies to Tom.
Good, Tom, you did such a good job.
If it is Tom, though, my only question would be like, why not just reveal it this episode, and we could kind of have this very poetic ending as you're describing, Adam, where he finally calls out Boston Rob, the votes are on Boston Rob, it's a traitor, he celebrates, and then this insta kill. It just doesn't feel as ceremonious to have it like, okay, we're gonna leave you on this cliffhanger and then pick up a week later.
Why would they do a cliffhanger?
Yeah.
I think not like why they would do a cliffhanger. It's part of the format of the show. But I think if it is Tom, I think it hits harder if he has this. If it's like a one continuous story. I know we're streaming, but The Traitors is a pretty watched show week to week, and I don't know. It's honestly
anything to get you to click that next episode button.
I know we don't have that privilege currently.
We don't, which is a shame, because I do want to see. I mean, the facial reaction was so obvious.
Would you not click next episode though? Right now, that's how these things work.
Oh, I would
do. I know, but the circle would do that all the time, and I would hit next episode and then see what happens, and then I'd close my laptop. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And then it's
you
like
have more self-control than most,
I guess.
Here's what I think, though, Will, when you bring that up, because I thought about this too. Because if it is Tom, I feel like it makes sense. But this is where the format of the show can almost hurt it, because the structure is so set in stone. They have to have the morning breakfast. The episode is not going to start next week. It's going to start with the same exact flashback instead of faces.
Oh yeah, good point.
Faces. And then it's going to go to breakfast. We're not going to know who's been murdered. They're going to cut to commercial as everybody's in shock as the last door opens. They're going to come back from that. The two people are going to walk in and they're going to go last night. And it's going to be Tom going, what? Why are you doing this to me? And how is it you two? And it's going to be great. And honestly, it's going to take 10 minutes to get to what we already know sitting here.
And now, Will, you're 15 minutes into the episode, so you might as well finish it.
Right, because I really needed to wait 15 minutes. Although, now that we're talking through this, I mean, there is a chance that it's not Tom, because I imagine they had everyone stand there, they plead their whatever, like their words to the church or whatever. I don't even know who they're supposed to be talking to. They're talking to the audience at that point. I'm not really sure. I bet they got B-roll of everyone turning around doing a shock face. Like, they had to have gotten that. So if it is Tom, do you think that they are including him as the only one who reacts that way? Or do they want him, if they really want to, if they really want to surprise you, they would have shown who's not the one that gets murdered. Mm-hmm. They had a couple people, but Tom's reaction was like, I mean, I think you saw Dylan turn around, but it was just a very like tame, like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
huh?
They may not have filmed it the same way every time because everyone who's not getting murdered is turning around and the person who is getting murdered is looking up.
Mm-hmm.
It also could have very easily been like Tom did that 6 times and the producers were finally like, dude, make a better face. Like you can't just turn around and look stoned anymore. You have to do something. And so he finally made a big grandiose thing and they're like, great, we're using it. That's the one. Ebony M here says, I think Dolores is going.
If it's not Tom, who's the next candidate?
That's where I think it would go. But Adam's shaking his head and thinking, and I know that he's going to.
I like Dolores's words, though. She's like, if you don't kill me now, you better watch out.
Very dramatic.
Very
dramatic. She thought about that in the hotel
from
room.
Real Housewives, right?
Yeah. New Jersey.
I feel like when they know this is going on television, like that's like their bread and butter is like, I'm going to make this memorable. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe Dolores, but like, just who should they kill, right? And honestly, Tom's benefit to the traitors is that he's always wrong and no one listens to him, right? And because the fact that the thing that's not benefiting them is the fact that everybody knows he's a faithful, right? They've always known he's a faithful, but he's a bad faithful. That's why they keep him. He's not a bad faithful anymore. So he has no more utility. That's it.
Do we know just because he gets one pick right with Boston Rob that next week he can't resort to being like, I know it's Ivor. I know it. I have a feeling, because he did get all these little feelings throughout the season and he was wrong. And then when it became like the most obvious thing ever that Boston Rob was
and
bitter,
that's actually not a bad point. I'll run with that because now that he's going to feel even more confident.
Yeah, he's got the ego. Now he's like, I'm just seeing the ball so clearly now.
I got it now. Now I know what I'm looking for. So if you can guide that, yeah, I mean, I could see the argument to keeping him as well if you think you can continue to guide him. Okay, so if they keep him,
who is the most faithful out of this group of 5 here? Who's the most obviously faithful? Because that is the line we get from the face-to-face murder.
So who's up? It's Dolores, it's
Chrishell.
Tom, it's Dylan, it's Chrishell, and who's the 5th? Who is Chrishell paired with? She was paired with Dolores. Ivor beat who did Ivor
Carolyn
beat?
Was one of them, so she's not.
Oh yeah, Carolyn.
Oh, Carolyn.
She's not there.
She's not there. And then Carolyn was partnered with Gabby. So Gabby's the other.
Gabby's there.
Gabby. I think that I think they could realistically
Dolores.
be talking to Chrishell too, though. I think Chrishell. Why not? Chrishell's not on anybody's radar.
Yeah, Chrishell or Dolores. Is Chrishell also part of the Real Housewives group? Like, I know it's a different show.
Sunset, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
but
that's
Bravo?
the same. Yeah, it's Bravo.
They all won because the traitors, because of their strategy at the beginning, they made it very clear that nobody from Bravo, or at least not any of the Real Housewives, are a traitor, right? There is no way that any one of those Real Housewives ladies kills all of their friends right at the beginning. So they basically said from the start, it's none of them. So eventually you do have to just finish the job and get rid of all of them. So yeah, Dolores probably makes the most sense if it's not
and
Tom.
The other one was Chrishell was going, she was pretty close with Rob too. And she didn't vote for Rob tonight. She kept on kind of being on Rob's side. Rob really played into her low moments. Rob did a great job of being like, come over here, buddy. Like he pulled a Natalie Tenorelli on her pretty much. That's what it felt like, of like, oh, you're feeling down, you're feeling outcast, come get under my wing and let's go. And that's what she did. So maybe they look at her and say, you're too faithful, even though Rob just went home, like there's no more use for you, right? Because the use was that you were kind of protecting Rob a little bit as one of the traitors. I don't know. I feel like Chrishell could easily go.
I was with you until you said, so you're too faithful. I think that actually is a reason to keep her, because now you can pin it on her a little bit. You can say,
I don't think anybody's going to think she's smart enough for that, honestly. And I'm not trying to insult Chrishell. That's how I feel it.
If the choice is between her and Dolores, who at least there's an argument for her. You were protecting Rob. You were with Rob. You know what I mean? Like there's an argument down the line when it gets down to just a few people to say, let's remember You protected the traitors, right?
Remember,
So
Dolores's name was out there though already, just from Tom. Didn't Tom start off last week's roundtable by being like, "All right, guys, it's Dolores," and then we had to run.
Everyone ignored him, and it didn't,
Right.
it didn't catch
So
at all.
maybe that's someone you want to. Maybe that's someone you want to kill. That her name was already brought up and no one bit.
And no one bit, right?
What was her line? I want you to keep going because it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah,
roasted him.
That was good.
Yeah.
But to go back, Phil, to what you were saying about Rob and how he is, you saw it as well in the challenge when he was comforting Sierra. Like, this is why when it works, because Rob is really good at, if he's trying to bring you in, really make you feel comfortable, right? You saw that, and it's part of the reason why, players that are traditionally more lammy, right, are attracted to him, because he makes you feel taken care of.
It's pretty insane that Boston Rob ended up with 4 daughters, because he does have such daughter dad energy with a girl dad energy. Like, it just fits his personality so much. So it is funny that he's probably, back in the day, he's playing it up a little bit more, but now in his everyday life, this is he's probably not lying to his daughters, I hope. But he's probably talking in this way to his daughters and Amber and all of that, because he's an Italian father of 4 girls. And so when he sees Sierra breaking down and, disgusted by everything that's taking place, he can say to her, "It's fine. It's not a big deal."
It's not bullshit.
Himself. Yeah.
It's not bullshit. It's real. I mean, it has to be in order for it to work.
Yeah. And I need to bring this up because Survivor Archive has put this up earlier, Adam. And since you came back around on Boston Rob, when you were talking about if you're an enemy of Boston Rob, he comes after you first, he gets rid of the biggest threats. This means that Rob thought the biggest threat on the Villains tribe was Randy. Bailey Bros vindicated. So have to throw that up.
But
makes sense, though.
Funny, but not totally wrong, because what do we know about Randy Bailey? He is not just going to go with something because everyone is going with it, right? If Randy doesn't agree, he will say something. That's a threat to somebody like Rob.
Yeah.
So,
all right, go ahead.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah. No, I know. It's just funny to think of Parvati, Tyson, Russell,
Tony, Jeremy. We can now throw in this mix.
Patrick Stahl's got a question here where he says, will the recruits say that there are recruits when they go? Do we think there's going to be recruits? We are now going to be, after this murder, we'll be down to 10 people with 2 traitors. Is that a good number ratio for the game? Or do you think that they're going to want to do 1 recruitment here?
If they don't do a recruitment, it will be extremely obvious that there are 2 left.
I think this is where the traitors sometimes, unfortunately, falls apart, because it's if you give the traitors a recruit at final 10 and it's now 3 against 7 and they have a new person that they couldn't have any information on, essentially, you're giving the traitors a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And if it's 2 into 8 and one of the traitors already has some heat on her, and potentially even both of them we could get there, then it's I don't think the traitors really have that good of a chance of winning. I would rather them not recruit, though, especially because we started with 4. And I think it's just a more fair game. And if Carolyn or Danielle can get there, great. If the faithful win again, that's fine, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they shouldn't recruit. That's my opinion. I feel like they should keep it the way it is, because 2 out of 10. And look, if at the next round table they banish Danielle and now we're down to 9 and it's just Carolyn, go ahead and let Carolyn recruit somebody. Yeah. That's fine with me. But right now, I don't think you need that safety net.
Yeah, and television-wise, it's too delicious. What's happened? They don't need to do anything. Now, I hope that they've sort of decided in advance how the game would work, and they're not just going based off what's going to make the best television, but
yeah, we were talking that they should have thresholds. So it's if you're at 2 with 10, that's fine. But if you're with 1 at 9, you get 1. And there's some Excel spreadsheet that tells you when you're recruiting.
But
when you're
really,
not.
that just, I mean, that's this. The whole thing we're talking about just shows how pointless, like, the whole concept of the show really is when you really think about it.
It
Like,
took you
Don't
45
think too
minutes.
hard about it because it doesn't really make any sense at
no,
some
it
point.
doesn't. And the competitions are it's like, what's the point? Like, bring back. Why didn't the mole catch on? Right? Like, the mole is such a good concept. Like, the mole can't be eliminated. Whatever.
The mole is fun. I find it so weird sometimes with the mole because it's like one of them is an actor, and then so one of them is actively giving you BS confessionals like to your face,
Yeah,
which is
which
kind of
makes it fun for
fun.
the audience.
So I like that. I like that one person's hidden, but then in some of the challenges, and you like go. I watched the Netflix one, the first season of it, and then like I was going back at some point to be like, okay, well at this point they weren't acting like a mole, like they were doing what a mole wouldn't be doing, and it wasn't even just like they're trying to cover themselves. So I don't want to spoil it for anyone that does want to check it out. It's a fun show. I think the original was done better. At least I found it more compelling. But
The original's so good.
yeah, there was something, I don't know. There was something a little disingenuous, and I mean it was too polished almost. The new one, I don't know. There was some vibes that didn't really hit on the new one.
I know what you mean about the new one. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I've always said for Adam, like if we have 3 traders start a season or 4, and you just omit one of them in the turret, you blur their face, you blur their voice like it's Masked Singer, so the audience doesn't know. They know like 3 of the 4 or 2 of the 3, and then you have that one person give fake confessionals as a faithful, and then it's on you to figure out who it is. And I think you could kind of combine that with the mole a little bit. It would be a lot of fun.
I mean,
think that'd be fun. Hard to do, but fun.
Yeah, we'll see if they ever attempt that. I feel like with how the show is going, I feel like people who watch this just eat up the juiciness of the drama and the screaming matches and the round tables and whatever. And like
it's already a hit. They don't need to fix things that we nitpick on.
It seems like this season is like doing better. Like there's these creators on TikTok that I always watch that do like impressions of like Succession and like all these different shows that are like really funny, and they're imitating like Boston Rob and Carolyn, and I'm like, whoa, this feels like a little more like mainstream.
Hitting the mainstream now.
Hell yeah.
It's true. And it's funny because like the 3 of us sit here and as massive Survivor fans probably first, right? Like that's our show. We want the integrity of Survivor to stay so sane. And sometimes like when you switch your brain, you're like, okay, yes, this is kind of nonsense, but that's okay. That's what people are tuning in for. It's fine. We don't have to overthink it. And yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed this season. To me, this has been the best season of the 3 US version. I never watched any of the others, but out of the 3 US versions, even if this has a weak ending, I was thoroughly entertained by everything that happened right now. Honestly, might be the second best game Boston Rob has ever played in any of his things. Like he played so well with such a target on his back. It was fun to watch him. He always was screwed, but even his argument tonight, I'm like, that argument was the best argument he could possibly make. Like he's just coming in with such a different level of threat on him. And the fact that he got rid of pretty much every single other massive threat in the game before him, the fact that Derek and Wes and Jeremy and Tony all went home, that's a small victory for him in this.
I will say though, if he played differently, if he wasn't himself and didn't have that only one speed, I mean, he might still be that. You know what I mean? Like he played well for his strategy, like it got him really far. But you look at like Carolyn, and I mean, I guess you could make the argument that he could never play that game, but like she's doing really well, right?
Carolyn, we've said the whole time Carolyn's doing well, but she was also dealt the best hand possible, especially now that Boston Rob is a traitor. I think that kind of spreads to the group that, okay, that was the Survivor traitor. Now let's find the other traitor from the other franchises.
That's a good point. That helps her as well.
Yeah, the fact that Tony and Jeremy weren't traitors, and now that Rob finally is, it's like, okay, Carolyn, your name is kind of cleared.
And we haven't had a big brother yet.
Right, and when Brittany goes and she's not a traitor, that will be bad for Danielle.
Exactly, which is, I think, why Danielle is backing her so hard. You brought up the challenge earlier, Adam. What did you think about this challenge tonight with bugs falling on people?
I thought it was hilarious. I liked that. I liked that they had Tom wearing a hat or whatever, and you could see the bugs like alive on the hat, so you knew that these bugs were alive. But like, can you? oh my God, Tom and whoever he was with, they were just like murdering like hundreds of bugs. Like they, can I not
They're
say
not
that?
supposed to be murdered. You don't. None of the bugs die in bug challenges.
Oh
Never
my God.
happens.
They were just like the way that they were like push them against the wall. Like really, I was like, oh my God, they're just like killing every single bug in that thing. Like, can you do that on television? I guess so.
If you don't see like the singular bug getting smushed, then it's fine. And if it's just a hand going in like crazy, a bug might have died, Adam. We don't know for sure.
A lot of bugs died.
We don't know.
We didn't get anything at the end that said no bugs were harmed during the making of this.
Yeah, does PETA like do they care about bugs, or are they pissed about this? You know what I mean? Like, where do they draw the line?
I don't know if it's so much a PETA thing. I know it's a lot of like, it depends what you can show and what you can't. But more importantly, it's usually the wildlife commission at whatever country or whatever place you're in, that you're bringing in foreign species that aren't natural to the land. And if you let one of those bugs and it's a female and it hops and it has eggs, now you're like starting and you're like changing the ecosystem of wherever they are.
Invasive species.
Right. You don't want that. And so that's why immediately when they got up and I saw the plexiglass rectangle on the ground, that's designed for when the bugs fall, they can't then crawl out. That's why it's there. And I was like, okay, they're definitely bringing out bugs for this because you want to keep them contained. Because I've done bug challenges where, like with grasshoppers, and essentially you have an animal handler and then a couple extra hands that when the grasshoppers go, they start hopping. Everyone chases after them. And you have to count your grasshoppers and collect them and get them back to make sure that you do not introduce an invasive species. So,
I would hope that they would check to make sure it's not an invasive species first, and then
well,
if it is, just like not do it.
It's invasive, not meaning that it's like bad or evil. It's just if it's not like natural to that environment, even if it's just like an ant.
Really bad.
I can tell you those whip scorpions, which I've used those before too. Those are not those you can only get. They're only like natural to like Madagascar or Africa or something. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe that's where my supplier was getting them from, but that's where they're like bred.
How many bug challenges have you done?
So many people
really
love doing bug challenges. And actually this bug challenge I thought was really well done. And it's often so hard to pull off with celebrities or reality stars, people that already have some fame or some money, because they're like, I don't need to do this shit. Like, I'm coming out here for fun. I have an appearance fee. Like
or
these bug
Yeah.
challenges and gross food challenges work way better with the everyday Joe who's like, this is my one shot to get some dough. And this one was fun because it was simple. It was very simple. Just hold a hand and then see how long it can last. And I thought the bugs looked good. Snakes looked good. So I was actually a fan of this challenge. And I was shocked that Sierra stayed in for that long when she already won the shield, and you're adding $4,000 to the prize pot, which is like nothing, especially when you have to split it by however many ways you're splitting it. So good for Sierra to stick it out for like a measly $4,000.
Yes.
And I will say, like, this felt like a big improvement over last year's bug challenge. Last year's bug challenge was bigger and more epic and all of that, but it ran into the exact problem you just said. Well, where enough people were like, yeah, I don't need to do this shit. I'm going to go out and sit with Dr. Will on the rocking chair. like enough people just said, I'm not doing this challenge. So while it was bigger in scale and probably a better design, this was so simple that it was easy, and you could watch along as an audience member and say, how long would I last in this? Would I be able to do the whole thing? Would I flip out as soon as the scorpions came in? What would bother me the most? And I'm fine with the fact that 5 of the 6 teams survived the whole thing. And then it just came down to, okay, go ahead and find the ring. That was fine with me. We got our one jump thing and we got to watch enough.
Impressive that 5 of 6 in this cast did it.
And I think if Sierra wasn't with Boston Rob, she drops out. I really believe that.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, he kept her calm.
Would you have been able to do that, Adam?
Yeah.
Would you have been scared of any of that? What would be the scariest creature that we saw?
I don't know. Maybe that first thing, really creepy crawly.
The millipede, yeah.
But
those aren't really that like menacing. I don't know. They're kind of just
I don't know. I think stuff going down the shirt, that would
that's the one, and that those kind of bugs that you do that with, they smell so badly, and they've been all contained in like a bucket or whatever kind of device you're using. It's kind of like a shower.
Can you
And
say
so,
what you've done this on?
yeah, I did the same thing with the shower on a Barstool sports show. House of Villains, we did a rodent scorpion bug thing, which it really, again, it didn't work well with House of Villains because they're like, we had two people that are like, I don't want to do this.
I remember that, but that was season 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it comes up often, but yeah, the bugs, they sit in the same spot and then they're actively like defecating basically. And so
gross.
it just rains down on you, and the smell is so vile that I wouldn't have reached my hand out in like, I'm scared of what's inside. It'd be like, oh my God, that smells so badly. My instinct would be to like cover my nose and like get the smell out. That really would be the thing.
They even said, one of the teams even said that today. They're like, it smells so bad right now. And I don't think that's something a lot of people are thinking about. If you see a bug on the side of the road or a bug in your house, it doesn't smell necessarily, right?
And they're all dressed up nice. Like they gave them these outfits at least, right? Probably.
I'm sure they gave them like a stipend to be like, all right, we're doing an event where you need to dress up themed red. Treat it like you're going to a wedding, a red wedding, perhaps, and dress up accordingly.
I think if I did ever play the Traitors, that would be the hardest part for me, is dressing
the wardrobe.
myself. The wardrobe. I'm like,
there's people that are helping you out for sure. You send your sizes, they'll send you some recs. Yeah.
Kaylee would have to really step up and help me out with that, because I still wear.
I bet she'd have fun with that too. Like dressing, giving you like a little beret. Yeah. I could see you in a beret.
I like the idea of you dressed like Tom Sandoval, just dressed exactly in what Tom Sandoval was wearing.
That would be hilarious if I just completely copied Tom Sandoval. That actually would be like the easiest for me, because then I wouldn't have to think about it too much. But like me and my wardrobe, like I still wear clothes that my mom bought me, and she died like 9 years ago almost. So yeah, that gives you a sense of like my wardrobe.
This is an LA shirt still.
You've got vintage fashion
for 5 years.
But Kaylee got me this tank top. It's almost brand new, just for Christmas.
And you were wondering if it was working. Somebody in here did say Adam Klein is so hot, so the tank's working for you. Good
definitely
job.
the tank. Definitely the tank top.
No, they said that because my face is red. They're like, oh my God, he's hot. Like he must be really hot. Like his face.
Adam. Sure.
That's what they're saying, I think.
Are you still getting blown out by the music there? Because we still haven't heard anything.
Do you want to see it?
Kind of. I mean, we almost had an hour. Anybody who made it this far,
I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. All right, let's. We're so off the rails now. But like,
I mean, we covered the episode. I mean, I'm just curious at this point. Like,
this is going to be the first party here at this hostel in Costa Rica that's ever been live streamed on YouTube.
We're gonna have to get appearance releases for all these.
Tell me you can hear it now.
We can hear it now.
Yeah,
but like faintly still. It's like I can hear the.
Here,
can you see that?
Yeah, yeah. You can we could.
Will, what happens if I do this?
Solo layout.
Do you see that? Am I out?
No, you're on there by yourself. This.
I was like, where did you guys go? Do you want to see again? Here, wait. Now that put it back to just me. You're gonna see.
Yeah. This one might be better.
And I unreduced mic background, so we really got this pumping.
There we go. We're gonna get a copyright strike for the music on YouTube now, Phil. Way to go.
No. This is all like house music.
What's great is we're watching that. And you're experiencing that and everything, and like you're up here podcasting with the two of us about the Traitors, while everybody else is down there partying in Costa Rica.
Right. I have like the.
I mean, if I were you, Adam, I'd be like, all right, for an hour in, let's wrap up this podcast. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to bed, guys. I swear.
This is the difference.
We got a big day tomorrow.
If this were, how long have I been in a relationship? If this were like pre Kaylee, if I were single, this is like the perfect. Are you kidding? What a spot. But this is the difference a little bit when you're single versus when you're married. Like, I just want to get back to my wife. Like, I just want to go and like be with. I'm like, it's not as fun when I'm not with her. So,
And so you couldn't get your wife, so you were like, Phil, let's do a podcast.
Yeah,
about the
right,
Traitors. I need to talk to you and Will.
That's
really
why you
bad.
reached out.
I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna walk around, but like,
Yeah,
drinking
don't
gives me
have a beer.
hangover.
Talk to some locals. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch some music, but like, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would have eaten this up like 8 years ago or whatever. But
Yeah.
this.
Wow.
I mean, I like talking to you guys, so it's fun. But I am gonna go down.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about this episode or anything like that, Adam, before we do let you go? I mean, we've already hit the hour mark and I'm East Coast now, so I'm like Betty by time for me. But you got anything right now?
No, but if anyone is interested in going on a cruise, I'm gonna be living on the Scarlet Lady on Virgin Voyages for like the next 4.5 months. So come say hi. If you actually want to come on a cruise, hit me up and I get like I have some sort of like you get some like drink credit or something like that.
There you
if
go.
You use
I was
my
gonna say, we
link.
getting a free cruise right now?
Yeah, you get a free cruise if you name drop Adam.
There, yeah. No, but if you guys want to come on a cruise, it's adults only. Don't bring your kids, but it's a lot of fun. We went as part of our honeymoon, and I'm super excited. I hope the Wi-Fi works so we can, do this again, and so I can do my business, which I'm really nervous about.
Yeah.
Could be tough.
But it's got to work. I just have to make it work. So one way or another, I'm not shutting the business down. So yeah,
The Survivor
4 months.
Archive is perfect timing to leave for a mysterious month-long trip in June after 4 months. That is interesting, Adam. You sure?
Yeah,
this
because
cruise you're going on, huh?
Survivor is like for sure. They're hitting up my phone. I've got Jeff calling me every day. They want me so bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why Danielle keeps tweeting, Jeff, have you called Vesepia yet? It's like, no, I've been on hold with Adam Klein for the last 4
He's
months. I
busy.
haven't.
He's on a cruise. We can't reach him. He's in the middle of the ocean.
Busy. Yeah, I
love it.
I'm definitely top choice for season 50.
But let me ask you this: if they asked you to play the Traitors, you'd play this in a heartbeat, wouldn't you?
Hell yeah, yeah, it'd be fun. I don't think they will, but
if you well, here's the last thing I'll ask you: if you were to go out there and you were going to play the Traitors, who's the one Survivor player you'd want to play with?
That's a tough one. Let's go Angelina.
Okay. There you go. People kind of forget. You guys had you were at Stanford at the same time, right?
Yeah. She was my student body president.
There you go. There you go.
Good answer. She was
so,
like
and Angelina would be iconic on Traitors.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
I think she's going to do 50, and then after 50, Traitors is going to want her, and I think she's going to do.
She's definitely going to have the outfits better than me, and I think she would be great as a traitor or as a faithful. She would, yeah. So yeah, that would be cool. That would be a good one.
I like that. I like that for sure. All right. We'll let you go party where you are. So everybody, thank you all so much for listening to this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Will and I are in full swing over here on the channel now. We did our over-under game with Russell Muscle TV last night. So if you want to participate in that, the link to sign up is in the description of that
new one
video.
for Adam. Adam never did the over-under game.
He didn't do the over-under.
Yeah, tell me the over-under. How does that work?
Will, you explain.
It's sort of like the prop bet game, but instead of naming a cast member to fill out 18 different prop bets that we have, we set over under on number of votes that the winner gets. We set that at 6.5, and then number of people to win immunity challenges, whatever. We just have a bunch of those, and you pick over or under.
And then next Wednesday with Peridium, we're going to be doing the prop bet game, which is where you put all 18 players in. So we have that coming up. We'll be doing our fantasy game the week before. Blake and I had Philip Solomon for Deal or No Deal Island on yesterday. So if you want to listen to our recap of episode 5 of Deal or No Deal Island with a player from the current season who's out there playing with Parvati and David from Australian Survivor and doing all that, go ahead and check that episode out. McKenna and I finally released our first Australian Survivor episode. So we did a cast assessment for this upcoming season. And now we're doing the trader stuff. I mean, it's like a never ending onslaught. And then we have
Go.
Yeah, patreon.com/the specialist, where Will's like, wait, we're podcasting again? What do you mean? I thought we just podcasted yesterday.
We're podcasting honestly every day over on the Patreon.
We pretty much are. So there's literally in the month of February, there's like 7 or 8 episodes coming out every single week. So go ahead and check that out. That's how you can participate in our fantasy game and our power rankings once Survivor starts up. Adam, if you have Wi-Fi on the boat, we'll try to get you on for something Survivor related here for the upcoming season. If you don't have Wi-Fi on the boat,
I will. I have to.
You better have Wi-Fi. It's a
I'm definitely gonna have
cruise.
Wi-Fi. I just need to make sure it works well enough. You know?
yeah,
what I mean?
can you stream a live podcast with us? That's the real question. Or would we be better off just like having Adam text in his notes as we're going? And, you can just send really long-winded text messages and rebuttal to us.
It's gonna be good enough. It has come a long way. Cruise Wi-Fi, especially on Virgin, apparently has come a long way from where it used to be. So,
fingers crossed. Well,
fingers crossed.
if we don't see if it's not great, we'll see you in 4.5 months. If it is great, we'll see you soon. And everybody who's looking for that business, if everybody who's looking for that, what's Adam Klein's business, go check it out. That's all I'm going to say. I won't say anything more, but go check out Adam Klein's business and help the man out while he's on his 4.5-month cruise. There you go.
Don't help me out. Help yourself out.
There you go. Wow. Oh my God. Don't blame.
Yeah, I forget I ever said that. Cut it.
I love it. No, that's going to be the clip we put on all our social media. Everybody like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.